Today is April 7th, and the Dodgers and Diamondbacks again meet for Game 2 of this four-game set after the Dodgers took Game 1 in 5-2 fashion. We have a familiar pair of left-handers on the bump. Before we get to that, let's start with the lineups. Leading off for the Dodgers and in right field, back in right field, I should say, is Mookie Betts. Freddie Freeman behind him at first base. JD Martinez is DHing and batting third. Max Muncy will be cleanup at third base. Miguel Vargas back in the lineup today at second base. Trace Thompson gets a start today in center field. No surprise there. James Outman in left field. Chris Taylor will be at shortstop. Still no Miguel Rojas. Austin Barnes is catching tonight with Clayton Kershaw on the bump. For the Diamondbacks, Ketel Marte is leading things off at second base. Kyle Lewis is DHing. Lourdes Gurriel Jr. is in left. Christian Walker is at first base. Familiar friend and or foe, depending on how you look at him. Evan Longoria is at third base. Corbin Carroll will be in right field. Nick Ahmed is at shortstop. Gabriel Moreno is catching and is batting in the 8th spot. And rounding things off for the Diamondbacks, we have Alek Thomas in center fielder with Madison Bumgarner on the bump for the Diamondbacks. Before we get into any kind of what to watch for or anything like that, I would like to say personally, going into tonight's match, I know we have the universal DH. I would have loved it if, like, the first time through the order, both Bumgarner and Kershaw DH'd, just because I think that would be good fun. They had a lot of fun together when Madison Bumgarner was playing for the Giants. They had a lot of fun pitching to each other and seeing who could homer off who, so on and such as. Getting into a little bit of the previous matchup, what we're looking for from Kershaw is really not much, to be honest. At least not much compared to what he did last time. Last time out, he went 6 innings, gave up 4 hits, 1 earned run, which was a solo shot to Christian Walker. No walks, 9 Ks, and did all that in 76 pitches. For Kershaw, like I said, just want continued dominance. The only real improvement from last week's outing would be not to give up a home run to Christian Walker. That could sound like me wanting my cake and eating it too, but this is my show, so I get to do that. One note about Kershaw, he did throw a couple changeups last time. I did really like that. We'll see how long that lasts for. He usually opens up or at least shows a changeup and then ditches it later in the year. But he did get some swing and miss on it, so hopefully that actually kind of becomes a real weapon for him. But we'll see what he does tonight. Madison Bumgarner last week went 4 innings, 4 hits, 5 earned, 4 walks, 2 strikeouts, gave up that bomb to Trace Thompson and did that in 85 pitches. Up against Bumgarner, we just want to continue to dominate him. Since joining the D-backs, he's faced the Dodgers 6 times, which have resulted in 1 win, 1 no decision, and 4 losses. The last thing I'll say about the pitching staff for tonight, if we do see Gratterall tonight, we want to see if we can pound the zone with strikes and continue to induce weak contact, but more than anything, we'd like to see him start throwing a slider more, really get that swing and miss, trying to get batters off their timing. One thing I would be interested in seeing is if he used the pitch clock to his advantage so much, like quick pitching, as soon as the batter's set, he gets set and throws, maybe holding onto the ball a little bit longer before throwing a fastball, or just really pounding it, just fastball 102 miles an hour, 101 miles an hour, grabs the ball, batter gets set, throws another 100-mile-an-hour fastball. Because hasn't been able to really mix up his velocities with his own pitch because of that short arm action, maybe he can use the pitch clock to kind of make up for a little bit of that. On to the batting side. Last week when the Dodgers faced Bumgarner, it was the Trace Thompson show. He lived up to his namesake with a splash of home runs. So can he replicate that? Hopefully. Since then, I believe he has not recorded a hit. So tonight would be a great night for him to get back on track. And Mookie Betts is somebody I do want to focus on a little bit. In 30 at-bats so far this year, he struck out 9 times and only walked 4. That is a much higher strikeout rate for him. He usually sits in the mid-teens, so he's closer to that 30%. This is a good night for him to turn it around, though. He is historically done very well against Madison Bumgarner. He has a 1.1 OPS against him. Last week, he went 1 for 3 with a double and even had a hard hit line out. So hopefully he can use some of that to also get back on track and maybe see some of that MVP level, just the normal Mookie Betts that we're looking to see, especially because right behind him we have Freddie Freeman, who's just the pinnacle of consistency. There's not much more to say about Freddie, but that's in the absolute best way possible. Couple last things about the lineup. It's great to see Miguel Vargas back in. Hopefully his hand is okay. Doesn't affect him too much defensively. And, of course, we have Austin Barnes catching, which means no Will Smith on the lineup. Maybe if they bring in a left-hander, we could see – or not a left-hander. If they bring in a right-hander, we could see some form of pinch hit opportunity. There is always that question of how can we get Will Smith more at-bats when he is not catching, because his bat is arguably the best right now on the team. So we do want him to get as many opportunities as possible to drive in some runs. That's all I have for today. Don't really know how to end these things. So, yeah, just going to see you tomorrow.